Morning. Hi. So another crafting on a budget. Now, part of my fairy journal is I need two very large journal cards, and that is to put in, when I find it, I'm looking for the sparkly ruffles. Right, so two very large journal cards to go in there. So rather than use my good card, I've got lots of birthday cards, greetings cards, as you can see, to Mum. And I thought these will do. They're flexible, and I could cover them with paper. However, what I want to do is I want to cover them with a mixed media. Now, I have gesso, which is £5 from the works. And I've got, as you know, I've got all the stress inks from Tim Holtz. But what I want to do is I want to do this with acrylic paints and watercolour paints. I will put some gesso on it just to protect. Now, gesso is, it's a primer for acrylic paint. So what I'm going to do is and this won't cover it totally, but I'm just scraping this on. And we're just going to leave that dry. Now I'll come back, this will all be cleared up, and I'll have white acrylic paint and watercolour paints, just cheapo watercolour paints. So I'll see you in a bit. Hi, so I'm back. So what I've got is I've got Giotto watercolours. I've wet them. I've also got some pearlized watercolours that I got from the works years ago when the H2Os came out and I was running a craft club. I've got white acrylic that you can get at £2 at the works. It's Bouldermere. I use their brushes and things like that. And yeah, it's not the most expensive acrylic, but it works. And these are just about dry enough to put acrylic on. This is a little bit runny. Now, I've just got a normal 1-inch paintbrush. And as I say, I'm not that bothered about it not going right to the edge. And I'm just taking some off that just to cover this. Just put a tiny bit rather than a great big blob. All the writings off. So I will let this dry and I'll come back to you again. Right, that's me, I'm back. I have dried these off a little bit with the heat gun, but be careful with heat guns and acrylic paint, because acrylic paint sometimes bubbles if it gets too hot. Now this is where the good stuff comes in. So I've got a little water spray here that I'm going to keep spraying my paints with just to get them all thick. Now these are cheap watercolor paints, not the normal, you know, not the really good stuff that goes nice thick. And however, now this is just a cheapo watercolor brush. I've probably cut the the ends, because usually the round brushes go into a point, and for some reason I've cut around the edges, so never mind. So I'm going to start with the white, and I'm going to give a little bit of pink, and this is a fairy journal, so it's, you know, all the pale colours. I'll have a bit of blue. And all I'm doing is I'm just covering, because I can still see that says happy birthday, lots of love, Lisa, Stephen, Cara, Connell, Ethan and Jude. It's my daughter. And we'll put a bit of white in with that. And I'm just going around the edges. I don't even have a water pot, which you should have. I'm going to go around with some green. Not the greatest of brushes, this, but I'm not doing anything intricate. I'm going to try and wet that a bit, just to spread, because you've got gesso on it and you've got white acrylic, you can put a little bit of water on it. And I think we'll have a little bit of yellow up here. I've not even planned out, you know, what I want to do. I'm just going to do some stamping on it. I'm starting to get a muddy colour now, which isn't good. So we'll put some pink over that. You have to watch, red and green makes brown, so watch when you're mixing greens with pinks and oranges and things like that. And I think what we'll do is we'll go to these are the pearlized colours. You can't always get them. I've never seen these in the works for a long time. Now and again, they seem to get them in. I'm just using the water that's dripped in there. And all I'm doing is I'm just reinforcing the colours. Bit of yellow. And we'll try a little bit of gold down here. And what we'll do is we'll leave that one to dry. And we'll concentrate on this one. Now, I am going to go and get a water pot. I'll see you in a bit. It would be quicker if I just opened it and... I've got about an inch of water in there. And I am going to just splash some water on, like what you would with the mixed media sprays. And I think what we'll do is we'll go with the blues. And all I'm doing is I'm just pouncing it on. And we'll go for a lighter blue. I'm just mixing a bit of water with that. Probably I'm going for the blues because it has got green around the edges, and so you don't have to have all the expensive stuff to go for mixed media. And mixed media is 2 layers or more of any medium on a surface, so it doesn't have to be paint. A lot of people get het up on Tim Holtz and all these mediums and everything. Yeah, and they are nice, and it's just a type of mixed media. It's not the mixed media. So you know, if you're looking at mixed media and you think you have to have Tim Holtz stuff, no, you don't. Right, I'm just going for a little darker blue, and this isn't the pearlized. This is, go for a little bit of purple. And yeah, I'm splashing it a bit, but hey ho. Just get the purple off. And then we'll go for a bit of green. Now to me that looks like lavender, lavender colours, so I don't have a lavender stamp. I could draw, but I won't. Because this is meant to be crafting on a budget. If you can draw or sketch, you can do your sketching and stuff like that. I'm just mopping that up just to try and get some of the colours off. And I think last of all we'll go with a little bit of pink. And we'll use a bit of this as well. Yeah, and it's mixing with the purple, fine. And it's dabbing into the green. Go back with the dark blue down here. I quite like that. So you don't have to have, don't get me wrong, the Tim Holtz mixed media is nice to have, and I do have it. But as I say, I've been crafting for a long time, and I didn't go and buy it all in a one-er. I bought it in bits. Some of it I've bought from second hand. You know, they've been sort of like partly used. No shame in that. And I think what we'll do is we'll maybe go for a bit of this blue. And I'm mixing it with the turquoise a bit. And again, I'm just loading the brush up with water and just going back over it. And I think we'll just leave it there and we'll let that dry. So as you can see, that's just a card. Yeah, it is a bit deformed now because, but if I hadn't put the gesso on, now you can use just plain acrylic paint and it will protect it to a point. But I use gesso, and as I say, you can buy it cheap in the works. I'm not quite sure in the US whether the works is like a cheap art shop. I'm not sure what the equivalent is in the US. The Dollar Tree I know has, and the dollar stores have a lot of art stuff. I don't know whether they'll have gesso, but you can make your own gesso, and it is made with is it PVA glue, white PVA glue, acrylic paint, and corn flour and things like that. Or if you Google it, you'll find it. It's on YouTube. There's lots of recipes, and they mainly come from the US. And where they have all these weird and wonderful and big packs of things that you can make. You know, you can buy big packs of corn flour, big packs of cornstarch and stuff like that. They don't tend to do the big packs of things like that here in the UK. I'm actually going to the US for 2 months, and I'm going to spend most of it in all the dollar stores right up the East Coast, I think. I'm going to visit every one. My husband keeps saying, we'll go to some. I go, no, I'm going to all of them. Right, so this is just an old towel. And this is still a bit wet. Now, I don't really want to dry it with the heat gun. I want to kind of leave it. Now, you can see that's brights, that's pastels. And I did one brights and one pastels on purpose so you can see, you know, the result. So what we'll do is we'll leave that there, and we will come back. It'll be just seconds for you. It may be half an hour or whatever for me, but we will come back and we'll go over that. And I'm just going to get some flower stamps and things like that, and we're just going to stamp on it. And then we're just going to put some, that one I'm going to leave, but that one I'm going to put some coffee dyed paper on it, I think, just to be able to write on it. So I'll see you in a bit. Hi, that's me back. So they're both dry. Now it's only a couple of seconds for you, but it's been probably an hour and a half of taking the dog for a walk. But yeah, I wanted them to dry naturally. And again, this is the pastel, and this is the brights. And they are a bit wobbly, but that's fine. Now, because it's the fairy journal, I've got some fairy stamps here. I'm not sure. I was given them. This one was part of a magazine, card making, but I was given them. And I think that one was a freebie on a magazine. This one may have been a freebie. This one was mine, and I'm not sure where I got this one from. But I think I'm going to use this one here on the brights. And I'm just going to stamp it in black, and it's just Onyx Black Versifine I'm using. And I think this, right, so that stamp block's not big enough. I have got a great big huge stamp block, and I'm not over keen on using it, but just in case any of you guys out there have got this great big huge thing. I got it when I was doing demos, and it was sent to me. So one of the things I do like about these is they are graphed, and so you can, you know, do your measurements quite precise. So I'm just going to put that on, and all we do is we just take the ink to the stamp, not the stamp to the ink. It depends on how I'm feeling, which I do, but you are supposed to take your stamp to the ink for the best results. But again, depends on, everybody's different. And I'm just going to lay it down and just press it. And then lift it up. And there we are. And I think what I'll do is I'll do one at the top there, because I have got some fussy cuts from the Fairy Digital kit that I'm going to use. Now, the Fairy Digital kit I designed myself. There is two. There is a large one that is for sale. There's also a smaller one that is free. They're both on my Ko-fi site. Actually, the one that's free, I think there's another couple of pages. If you look on my Ko-fi site, there's lots of freebie papers and projects on there, and I try and put at least one a month. I would like to get it down to one a week, but at the moment, with other commitments, I don't have the time. So there we are. So it hasn't stamped properly, but I'm not bothered, because the stamp isn't the main thing on this. I've got an embellishment to go in the middle, and I don't think I'm going to use this one on there, no. So I will take that off. It does need wiped, and all I use is just a wet wipe. I do clean them up every now and again. I'll just put that there, and I'll just put that there to dry. And we'll put this over here to dry too. Now, what do I want for this one? I think what I'll do is I'm going to put this meadow kind of scene along the bottom. And again, I'm just tapping the ink lightly. Tapped it so lightly, I've got it on there. Okay, so we'll just put it on the edge there. And there we are. And it doesn't matter if it's not lightly enough. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over that slightly. Like that. And slightly again, get a secondary stamp. And we'll get a third So it looks as though there's flowers in the background, and it's fine. And again, just wiping the stamp off. Take this out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the fussy cuts that I prepared for them. I picked up a few. Wasn't that one. Right, that one. I looked at that one. And this was one of my own sketches. This and this wasn't. That's not it. And then this one, I wanted to do that, and oh, I did have another one. Was I maybe going to put the fairy on it? No, there it is. It's behind. Because this was the Brights, another one of my sketches that I've fussy cut out, and this is part of on the digital, so I'm not quite sure where to put this yet. I've not found the right place, so I think that's maybe it. Yeah, so that's a definite for that. This one I'm not quite sure about yet. I want to use that. Not sure if I want to use, no. Can't really go over the edges, otherwise the edges are, what I'd need to do is tuck the edges in. So I think what we'll do is we'll go that way. And do I want the fairy? Yeah, I'm going to put it on like that. So I am going to use Fabri-Tac. Oops. And as I say, I will put the link below for the Ko-fi site so that you can go and have a look at the freebies. And as I say, there are some kits that are for sale on there as well. And the fairy kit was so big that it's ended up being a couple of fairy kits. This one's got a bit of steampunk fairy in it, a couple of pages, and I love the steampunk fairy. I don't know whether I'll make a journal on it, but I am part of a collaboration next month, and I think I will be showing a little bit of steampunk. And we'll just put there. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could put foam pads behind this and, you know, give it a more of a 3D effect. Now what I'll do is I'll put that under some heavy book pages to get that flattened. And I was going to use whoops, but I'm using my coffee bubble dye paper just to put a little bit in the middle, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm not really bothered that it, you know, it doesn't cover the whole thing. It doesn't have to. At the end of the day, it's a journal card. I think I need a new sponge. My blender. And we did these the other day, and this is on the, well, it would be last week, crafting on a budget, and it's like bubble dye with coffee. But I did go off on a tangent and did do some mixed media with oxide sprays because I wanted to make a some envelopes for the fairy journal. So that's why I'm doing this one, to show that you can get that result with paints. So what I'll do is I'll put that under a heavy book, and we shall do this one now. So this one does need to be on with fabric tack because there is fabric here. And we've got Mr. Owl, and it says get up and try again. I was watching my youngest grandson. He's just started walking. He's getting faster on his feet, but he was a bit like that, you know. He would, when he first started walking, walk, fall, get up. It's like anybody that's learning something. If you're learning to ice skate or dance, you just keep getting up and trying again. And there we are. Now we'll put something heavy on that as well. I'm not wanting something too heavy because I'm not wanting to squish the embossing on that. Now the back of that, I want to put a lined paper. Now one of the things that I did make on crafting on a budget was some foam rollers. And I didn't do this one on camera, but it's kind of a lined one. And it's not perfect lines, it's just lines that I deem would go nicely in a journal. So I'm just putting that on, just moving the toilet roll away from this edge so it doesn't squash it, and that should be enough just to do some nice lines. You can see some of them are broken, and they're broken on purpose. The maybe's not all in a straight line, it doesn't matter. It's just to give it sort of like that vintagey old look. And I think I'll do this one with black soot. We'll try it, and all I'm doing is just putting the roller in until I get all the lines on there. And there we are, and it doesn't have to be It can be as faint as you want. Could have been done with a little thinner, but it's lines at the end of the day, and I went off. It is a bit slanty, but that's fine. I quite like it. So we've now got a stripy. So again, if you're making your own foam rollers, you've seen what I've done there. Let me measure it in. I think the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 1/10 or 2/16. So if you tried a 16th, but that's fine. I'm just going to ink round the edges again. I'm just going to get in fact, what I'll do is we'll do a little bit of black stuff around the edges. This is basically to hide that. I don't mind those bits showing, but I just didn't want the majority of it showing. And if you wanted to, you could, you can use white acrylic to paint over them. You can do some coffee bubble dyeing on it and then put your paper on it, but it's fine. I don't mind. Or you could have put a longer piece of paper on it, that's fine. So there we are. We have 2, whoops, oh dear. Always let your ink dry first. And this will take a little longer because it's on top of paint. It's not able to soak into the paper. Where if it's able to soak into the paper. Okay, and we'll shove them back. So there we have it. Two journal cards for the fairy journal and very black fingers. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.